Watch me turn up, roll up, yeah, you know I burn up, burn up.
Hey, how'd that go?
It might have been like a little bit early, but we'll see.
Okay. Oh, well. I've heard
We're doing
that
our
about
best,
you.
dude. It's a nasal problem, dude.
A nasal problem. I haven't heard that one.
The ads on the radio all the time. But you don't listen to the radio, so.
No one does. You're single-handedly keeping the radio business afloat.
Man, someone's got to do it, right? I'll take a bullet for the team.
You're just a good citizen.
That's it. Hey,
They'll be like,
I almost called in today.
Jesus. You've officially hit boomer status.
True.
There was not much doubt left in my mind, but if there was, you just got rid of it. What did you call in for? A new set of steak knives, or? No,
that was this hilarious Minion meme, dude. I saw it on the Facebooks.
What?
Just had to call in and share it with everyone.
You're joshing me, surely.
Dude, no, I'd probably in my life. Hello and welcome. You're listening to Hobby Homies. We are your weekly Wargame and Board Game podcast. My name's Shane. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Fox.
Howdy.
And today, this is episode 12 of season 2, and we're talking about AM radio.
No, not at all.
What?
No, you keep trying to make that episode happen, dude. It's not going to happen. You can keep your minions and your boomer memes to yourselves.
Naval board games.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds better. I like that. Yeah, naval warfare miniature games of sorts.
Yeah, that's the one.
Specifically, I don't actually know what yours is called, but I'm going to be talking about the new game, Kings of War Armada, which isn't out yet, so this is cutting edge. But yeah, What's yours? I forget.
Hot off the press, dude. Mine is also... Look, I don't know if it's out yet or if it's still not out, but it's pretty fresh too. Mine is called Victory at Sea, Battle for the Pacific.
Interesting. I'm Googling it. Is it a Warlord Games one?
It is a Warlord Games one, yep.
I just want to...
They make Black Seas and Cruel Seas.
Yes.
So it's sort of based loosely on those two existing games from the same company, which is kind of unusual to make 3 different similar games, but hey, I dig it.
Well, Black Seas has been incredibly popular, and that's going to come into play a little bit with what I discuss. So,
okay.
In fact, I might kick it off with my game just because I'm pretty hyped about it. So,
yeah, man.
I want to talk about Kings of War Armada. So, which is a fantasy-style naval war game, which contrasts a bit to yours, Shane. But Don't worry. I'll let you talk about it. I'll give you your time in the sun.
Oh, okay.
if there's time, we'll see. We'll see how much time I take.
We'll make time, dude.
All right. So this one's a fantasy-style naval war game set in the Kings of War universe. For those of you who don't know what Kings of War is, it's a Mantic game. So you can jump on manticgames.com. Suss it out. It's a mass fantasy battles using movement trays style of game, and it's got a very expansive universe with heaps of different factions and a map and lore and all that crazy stuff. This game is set around that universe, but obviously in the ocean, in the big wide.
You know what's pretty cool?
Sea.
You can use this game, and you can have it like a campaign. So you could play your armada, your ship battle, and then you could carry it on to a land battle.
Absolutely. And they also have Vanguard, which is their skirmish version of Kings of War. So you can have smaller scale fights over key points, the larger full-size war game, Kings of War, and then, the fight for the seas. So you could print out the map of... I'm sorry, I've heard it many times, but I've already forgotten what the world is called. It's got a name. You could
I never clue.
Middle Earth. Let's call it Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Actually, for copyright reasons, let's not do that. And for hate mail reasons, let's not do that. Yeah. So you could print off the map of that, and you could have like little dot points and stuff, and the oceans could be key points. In fact, just you mentioning that has gotten me excited to try that. But then we'd have to get into Kings of War. So just like all standard naval warfare games, it'll be your fleet versus your opponent's fleet. This is played on like a 4x4 or 6x4 sea map.
Wow.
Depending on the size of the game, is obviously dependent on the size of the map that you'll play on. So
yeah, that's huge. Like 6x4, like it's always been the sort of standard for war games, but like,
yeah,
I'm interested to see how it would be with this naval game. Like, you know, you wouldn't have as many ships as you would have, you know, like miniatures in a 40k game. You know, like on average.
Yeah.
Like,
no, definitely.
you know?
You're right. In fact, your fleet will have roughly 6 to 9 ships. So there's only going to be 12 to 18 ships on the actual table.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it makes sense because in the big wide ocean, they're going to be more spread out. And you almost need to be spread out because these things have obviously slow turning circles and you have to move certain distances. You know, you've got a minimum move that you have to do. So yeah, you kind of need a bit of space to navigate around.
True.
So you'll pick one of 10 scenarios and the games go for about 2 hours. You know, probably half an hour less if you play the smaller game, probably half an hour more if you play the bigger game, but around that 2 hour mark. So it's pretty cool. I thought I would take you all through the 4 factions that are going to be released either at launch or a couple of months after launch, just so you can get an idea of what the ships will look like. So
sweet.
The first 2 that are going to be available on launch, which is November, but I'll talk more about that later, are the Basilines. I think that's how you say it. Again, I've heard it many times, but I'm blanking on it. And the Orcs, which is basically your human knights versus your orcs. The Basiline ships, they're not like gritty Game of Thrones knights. It's more sanctimonious knights, like kind of Stormcast Eternals from Age of Sigmar, if you're familiar with theirs. So their ships kind of look a little bit like they're pristine, they're immaculate. They're basically temples on the ocean. They've actually got priests in the lore that like bless the cannons before they shoot them. They're that level.
So it's like super clean, but it's like the insane religious aspect, like 40k.
Absolutely.
Like, don't upset the machine god.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And their ships, some of their extra large ships just basically look like temples on. Yeah, I think if you are familiar with the aesthetic of Stormcast from Age of Sigmar, this will look very familiar to you, their ships.
Yeah.
They're also probably the most typical looking pirate ships with the sails and yeah, it's kind of what you think of if you thought rich English ships in the pirate
like
era.
your tall ships of the 1600s and 1700s.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
The orcs, contrary to that look, is kind of, I mean, the orcs in Kings of War are just like orcs from most games and movies. So their ships sort of look
Savage
like
beasts.
Pardon?
Savage beasts.
Correct.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Green. I mean, yeah, and you could take them and put them in any other orc universe and be like, yeah, that's them. So
yeah.
Less Lord of the Ringsy, definitely more 40k looking orcs.
Yeah, kind of like I looked at these ships briefly, and it's kind of reminds me of like, I mean, I've been looking at World of Warcraft Shadowlands, but like Alliance versus Horde, like humans and orcs. It's kind of like that Warcraft 3.
I was going to say
that's
Warcraft
how they
3
look to me. Yeah.
For sure. That's the aesthetic, definitely. So the ships look like they're more makeshift, like wooden, patchy. Their sails look worn. Some ships have like huge metal jaws at the front.
That's so cool.
Which doesn't seem practical. Some have giant drills. Some have jaws with cannons in them. I think some have a couple like saws on them. So I get the feeling that those ships, the orcs, are more about like running into and just like hit. They're probably all about making impact with other ships.
Yeah.
Less about probably shooting, I imagine.
Yeah.
So those come out on launch, those 2 factions, and then shortly after that, in January, are Dwarves and Empire of Dust. Now, Dwarves, again, are just like those that live in the mines of Moria, while we're on the Middle-earth analogy.
Yeah.
So,
or Ironforge.
Or Ironforge, yeah, exactly. They're that same kind of deal. For some reason, all Dwarves are masters of metal and gunpowder.
They just love hitting rocks, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're so close to them, dude.
True.
So their ships have like a blocky, sort of chunky stalwart vibe to them. Like they're all armored. They look like bricks in the ocean.
Yeah, no sails.
They have no sails, correct. They have engines, of course, because for some reason dwarves engines. So, yeah. So again, I imagine they play. I'm sure their cannons don't shoot often because they only look like they have a couple, but I bet they're super strong, and I bet their actual ships can take a beating. They probably move quite slow, potentially. Emperor. The Emperor protects, but the Empire of Dust. This faction's like sand-dwelling zombie skeleton warriors.
They're mummies, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's like if the Mummy met Necrons from 40k, because the ships look like ancient Egyptian ships, I guess, but also have that Necron-esque. There's some diamonds, and I reckon they can shoot crystals or lasers.
I think people familiar with the old world of Warhammer Fantasy will probably look at these and think of Tomb Kings.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Kings of War, though. Yeah, like I remember watching a video online, and they had a Kings of War, whatever the army's called, something Dust. I'm familiar with it, but like they're like zombie mummies. So they look cool. Like if I was to pick a fleet, I'd be picking those guys for sure.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I think they're probably the coolest. I mean, they're all so like those four are so different. I kind of like aspects of all of them.
Yeah.
But there's another 4 coming out in 2021 as well. Another 4 factions.
Wow. So there'll be 8.
There'll be 8 by the end of 2021, which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Too many games sort of come out with just the 2 factions and sit on that for 6 months while they play catch up. Yeah. Whereas this one's sort of launching with 2, and then 2 months later another 2, and then anyways. And they're all going to be factions from the Kings of War universe. So yeah, I'll let you know a little bit. I mean, how it plays to kind of give you an idea. Although the rules aren't out yet. There's a few things in here that can give you an idea. So
sweet.
This is interesting and goes back to what we were talking about before. If you're familiar with the rules and playstyle of Black Seas by Warlord Games that Shane mentioned before, it plays very similar to that because they basically took the rules of Black Seas and gave it a fantasy makeover and streamlined it a bit. Now, they actually have openly said this. They said, we got the rules from our good friends at Warlord Games of Black Seas, and we made it Kings of War-y.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. If it works, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, why not?
Exactly. And they basically said, like, they think Black Seas is the best rules for sea warfare that they could get their hands on without having to write their own, I guess. Yeah. So all they did is they streamlined it to take out... apparently Black Seas sort of sits in between. It's not fantasy enough that people have creative freedom, but it's not historical enough that it's a pure simulation.
Yeah.
So, but it kind of leans more towards being as realistic and historically accurate as it can. It just doesn't quite nail it. So they kind of took out all the extra rules, like in Black Seas, you can aim your cannons high or low and hit specific parts of the ships. Wind can come in from 8 different directions. They took out a lot of that stuff. If they felt like it was key to the game, they just reworded it and simplified it a little bit. But yeah, they kind of just took out all the things they felt were convoluted and streamlined it. So I think that's good. Enough. I mean, I've never played Black Seas. I've got no idea about the rule set. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Now, this process of streamlining the Black Seas rules was done by the guy who wrote the rules for Vanguard, which is Mantic's skirmish version of Kings of War, and just happens to be, this isn't planned, but that's our monthly giveaway for this month, is the Vanguard rulebook.
Yeah.
So the guy that wrote that rulebook also wrote the rules for this game. So that's cool.
Nice.
So it's less of a historically accurate simulation style game, and I would say more of an arcadey fantasy game. Now, from a guy who has played it, not me, someone I was watching on YouTube, he says on a scale of complexity, it's got more depth than, say, Warcry and Underworld and those kind of quick pickup games, but it's not so complicated as like 40k. So it lands somewhere sort of
Okay.
in the middle of them.
Yeah, so like a happy sort of medium in there.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he seems pretty hyped. He might be a little bit biased. We just won't know until
Yeah.
we get our grubby little paws on him.
It's so hard to get an unbiased view on anything, though. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
for someone to get so hyped about something, like immediately the bias kicks in, and yeah. So
it's been very hard for me to stay. I'm trying to deliberately be unbiased about this game because you and I have talked about pirate games for who knows, who knows how long,
a long time,
the extent of our lives, and
Probably.
this is kind of the closest one that it has that real Pirates of the Caribbean theme where it's got like magic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that. But anyways, the ships have like different sizes, which I hate the names of, but they're tiny, small, medium, large, and extra large.
So they went with probably the most original names they could come up with.
I don't know if I'm picking the size of my ship or ordering a Coke from McDonald's, to be honest. I've gone to the cinema and I'm
pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it's more akin to a pizza shop. I would have thought they could have done
family ship, please.
Yeah. A New Yorker, please.
Yeah.
Just one slice of ship, please. Yeah. Look, I'm disappointed, but whatever. It's really just splitting hairs there.
If that makes you not want to buy the game, dude, then you probably should check yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably don't love it too much if that's the deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
Now, so look, I don't know much about Black Sea rules, but there are things in this like terrain, which would be things like wrecked ships, sandbanks, islands, that kind of stuff. Because obviously it's a giant ocean map. So there's not a ton you can do with terrain. There'll be like little tokens and stuff that come in the starter set that you can just pop out and put down on the thing.
Yeah.
There is boarding and crew fights, which is very cool. Like if your ship gets within 3 inches, you can try and perform a boarding action.
Nice.
And that's a must-have, I think, in all pirate games. I'm calling pirate games,
man.
but I mean, I don't know if there's any pirates, but whatever. So there's also capturing and potentially controlling sea monsters, like the Kraken and Megalodon and a giant narwhal for some reason. The unicorn of the ocean.
It's a classic, like pirate sort of thing, like the narwhal.
Yeah. I saw it and I was like, a narwhal? And then I'm like, I don't know, actually, maybe I have seen this before.
Yeah.
It's like a whale with a horn, I guess. I mean, you make anything giant and it's scary in the ocean, so...
True.
It's got things like wind impacting initiative, and there's also the option to play with advanced rules. So I imagine a lot of the stuff they take out of the Black Seas, because it's too complicated, if they still feel like it adds depth to the game, they'll throw it in the advanced rules instead.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So I've flipped and flopped on this game many times. When Foggy Highway, one of our Discord users, a big Mantic fan, mentioned it in our Discord, I was hyped. I was full chub, ready to go. I had pulled out my credit card before I even got to the website.
Yeah.
But I didn't purchase it. I was hesitant. And a part of me still is. Because if the rules aren't exciting and dynamic, I've got so many games, it's just going to sit on the shelf. And unlike other games, I'm trying to fill a void that's always been there. And that's the pirate naval warfare, void.
Yeah.
So there's already an expectation in my head of what this game should or could be. And, if it doesn't get close to that, I'm going to be disappointed, I guess. I think it's also going to be hard for them to balance magic, legendary heroes, fantasy, but also make cannons and sails and crew feel impactful. Another thing that had me hesitant is that Mantic isn't huge here in our local scene, like Kings of War and Vanguard. So will this just follow suit and just be like a little niche thing? I'm unsure.
But is it the one thing that actually brings it, Kings of War and that to like the popularity, So
like I don't play
one.
either of those other two, and I'm keen on this. So how many other people like me are out there thinking the same thing?
Yeah.
So, but contrast to that, I'll tell you why I'm excited about it. because
baby.
it really feels like the perfect game to whip out in an Arvo for something a bit different to like all the other war games I'm currently playing.
Yeah.
You know, all of them have boots on the ground. You know, you measure your dudes, you roll your dice, you shoot things. This feels like, let me give you an analogy, Shane.
Okay.
What is your favorite chocolate bar? What you go to?
favorite chocolate bar. Oh man.
You go to a shop. What's your favorite?
Oh, that's tough. Look, I don't eat chocolate bars very often. I think if I had to like pick one, I'd probably pick a cherry ripe.
Hey, nice, dude. Nice. Well,
Yeah.
okay. You don't eat chocolate bars, so it's a bad example. What about energy drinks? What's your favorite energy drink?
Oh, you know that's a purple rockstar,
Danky.
man.
Purple Danky.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
So 40k is your purple Danky. But what is your... Do you ever have an energy drink that maybe if the purple Danky isn't there, or you've had a purple Danky already twice today and you want something a little bit different? What's like your...
Oh, you mean when my
Your
heart
change
isn't
up.
palpitating enough in my chest?
Correct, yeah. What's your
Yeah.
change-up energy drink?
Oh, that's a fucking Red Bull, dude.
Yeah. So this could be, I think, the Red Bull in the collection.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
40k is your cherry ripe. This might be your Twix, you know? You've played
Okay.
You've played 40k a bunch this week, or just, you know, boots on the ground, typical war games a heap. You want something a little bit different. And, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes you have a Red Bull and you go, you know what, this is actually really good. And you get on a bit of a roll and you have Red Bulls all that week. I feel like this is that game, you know?
Okay. Yeah,
So
yep.
and what I really like about it is that it's skirmish size in models. So that means, you know, the outlay for hobby time, money, all that kind of stuff is much smaller than a full-scale war game.
Yep.
But your actual playtime with it is still just as much if you want it to be. So it feels
Okay.
like you can paint these things up, get them ready, have them sit there, and then, you know, every other weekend you play a game, or you have a big campaign, like you said, a big weekend of it, or a massive, you play on 4 6x4 tables, put them all together, get like 80 of your mates and have a huge battle with a few custom rules. So it just feels like a good game in the collection. The outlay for it isn't too much. And I also like that the thematics of the game give you a lot of creative freedom because it's fantasy as opposed to historically accurate. So if you paint something on a flag, people aren't going to go, that's not the right colours. That's the wrong era.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they didn't use those colours until 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
1728.
That ship
Yeah.
actually never ran those colours.
Yeah,
Or had
that's the
those
trouble
cannons.
with
Yeah.
That's the trouble with historical games is because that it's like World War II. You know, the Germans had different uniforms at the start of the war than they did at the end of the war. So, like, if you're playing
Yeah.
a late war with early, anyway, that's a beers and banter rant right there.
Yeah, okay. That's a beers and ranter for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, so...
I'm just gonna interrupt 1 second.
Yeah.
It is blowing a gale and pissing down rain right now. So, apologies to you guys listening if you're hearing some bad noise on my end.
I can't hear it now, but I hope on the recording it's just something hectic, like
The roof's been torn off the fucking house.
you're like a reporter holding your yellow hat down, absolutely blowing a gale, dodging debris.
Yeah, here I am in the eye of Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, awful windy. Wouldn't have thought. Yeah,
Don't forget to wear a sweater.
and don't forget to subscribe to us on Patreon. We're going to use the funds for Shane's funeral. Okay, so speaking of funds, look, there's heaps to talk about this game. There's heaps to talk about this game.
Yep.
You know, I've seen pictures of all the ship stats come on cards. All the cards come in your booster box. The booster box isn't like a random one. You know what you're getting. So I like that because you can lay all the cards out in front of you, reminiscent of Star Wars Legion, as opposed to having a codex that you have to flip through. It's all just there in front of you. It's got some really good reference sheets. One sheet, two-sided, and apparently you can basically pick up and play the game off that reference sheet alone. So they've done a really good job with that. There's some basic rules for fleet building just to stop you from like doing gimmicks, but it keeps the lists pretty flexible and list building straightforward. So, but anyways, yeah, like I said, there's heaps to talk about it. I just wanted to give you guys a little taste because I'm sure we'll probably update you on more news as it's pretty cutting edge in the sense that I think it was only announced 2 weeks ago. It's available for pre-order right now and isn't released until November 21st.
Nice.
So, if you are a little bit interested, jump on the Mantic Games website, check it out, or their Facebook page, or wherever the kids go to get their news these days. I will let you know a few prices and stuff just in case you are interested, to let you know what you'll be dipping your toes in. There's a 2-player starter set, as most games come with. It'll come with 4 Basilines and 4 Orc ships. It'll come with rulebook, those references, all the ship cards, MDF tokens, which is nice, dice, and a 3x4 gaming sheet. It's just a piece of paper, 3x4.
Paper, yeah.
And that's 150 Australian dollars.
Not bad.
Not too bad. Like you could buy 2 of them if you had a mate that wanted orcs and you want Basilines or vice versa, and you get 8 ships, which is
Harveys.
perfect. Yeah. Or go Harveys.
Go Harveys in one. Yeah, $75 each. Just not a bad way, to step into a full game ready to go.
Yeah. The 2-player starter set seems okay because it gives you a 3x4, and as we mentioned, that's smaller than the smallest size they say you'll play on, which is a 4x4. But they also only give you 4 ships, so I guess it's like for a little intro game, and then as you get better, as you get more ships, you'll play on larger size mats. You could probably throw 2 of those together, and what is that?
6x4.
Yeah, 6x4. There you go. Yeah, so that's actually a good idea if you want to do that. And anyways, the starter fleets for all 4 factions will be $60 Australian. You get 3 ships in it, so it's like $20 a ship.
Not bad.
It's not bad. The ships, I should mention, are all resin, and that was a big turn off for me at the start. I was like, resin. I just think of there's a few poorly made resin models that come to mind, and I'm just like, really, resin? But I saw them, dude. They're freaking immaculate.
Yeah, you when you hear resin, you can't immediately think Games Workshop resin, unless this model's coming from Games Workshop.
Yeah, true. It's not.
yeah. Like other companies use, there are some which use ordinary resin, but most of them use pretty good resin.
These look absolutely insane, dude. The quality of these. Oh, there's a I forget what he's. I'll find the YouTube before we finish today, of a good resource of a guy that's actually got his hands on them early, and he shows you close up what they look like, so you can get a feel for it. They look incredible, dude.
Yeah, nice.
It's only 2 pieces. The mast goes into the mast and sails go into the deck. So that's
easy, man.
Yeah, easy to paint as well in sub-assembly.
Yeah.
So there's booster fleets as well, which come with 4 more ships for each faction. They're also $60. So I can't remember, what did I say? 6 to 9 ships.
Yeah.
So really you would be buying the starter set, which comes with 4 ships, and then maybe a booster fleet with another 4 ships. So really looking about $210, I guess, to start playing a full-size game.
Yeah, but you don't need that. Like, you get away with going Harveys with your mate in the starter box.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what. I mean, I'll get the starter box. I don't know what I'll get yet. There's a big set on there that I had in my cart for a while, and it's just got like everything, absolutely everything, more than what you would need for 2 people. And I was like, that'd be cool. But yeah, we'll see. So, and then you can get the rule book and the counters on their own for, again, $60. So if you want to know how much things are, it's probably $60.
Yeah.
And the dice are $17 on their own. So you can buy stuff on their own. The 2-player starter set is real good, but if you don't like either of the factions in there, you can just get the rule book and counters, and then in January, when the other 2 factions come out, just buy their booster and starter fleet, and away you go.
Yeah, that's it, man.
But yeah, so that's
sweet.
Kings of War Armada. Pretty hyped.
Sounds good.
I encourage you to go check it out. While Shane's talking, I'll ignore what he's saying and I'll quickly go and... It's called Blackjack Legacy, actually. So check out Blackjack
Okay.
Legacy on YouTube.
Yeah. Now you know what it is. You can listen.
Yeah, I'll listen to what he said. Exactly.
Yeah.
He breaks down all the ships, I think, or at least he will. He's done Dwarves and Basilines so far, and yeah, again, they look incredible. I think you'll see the
Yeah.
ships, and that'll get a lot of people over the line. But anyways, that's
Sweet.
my game. That's Kings of War Armada, coming to you November 21st.
Sweet. All right. Well, my game is one of those realistic, historical miniature war games. Victory at Sea, Battle for the Pacific. So, I saw this at my local Guff Werribee. They had a little copy there. I had a quick sneak peek at, which I was just blown away with straight away because I have always been a big history buff. Like I've always loved watching like the History Channel and Foxtel when I was a kid, and sit there for hours just watching that shit, man. Like the amount of World War II docos and that, like.
You're an old
Crazy.
soul, as alluded to by your infatuation with the radio, AM radio.
Hey, dude, it's good for you. Get into it. The starter set, it contains 15 resin models, so it's Warlord resin. They made that exactly clear on their website. These ships are at one 1800th scale. So
Jesus. Those are
they
dots, dude.
Oh well, if you had it in front of you, they're probably just small, like the length of a pen. Like they're still good sized ships to have on the table, but it just makes you think these ships were huge. Like, realistically, these ships were fucking huge.
Yeah.
So set in World War II, obviously, Battle for the Pacific. The set contains dice, rules, tokens, cards, 2 double-sided paper mats. So they're an A0 size, which is 850mm by 1200mm. So that's 3x4.
Yeah.
Same size as yours.
Yeah, but it comes with 2 of them.
It does come with 2 of them, yeah.
That's
so
twice the
one
value.
side, it's funny because one side the water's darker than the other, which is like the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, which I don't know why they had to make that a thing, but it's a thing.
Yeah. Good on them.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get 9 ships in the box belong to the US Navy, so you get 3 battleships and 6 destroyers. And all the battleships are named too, like there's like the USS Minnesota, USS Indianapolis, and another one which I can't remember off the top of my head. And then some Fletcher-class destroyers. And you get 6 ships belonging to the Imperial Japanese Navy, 3 battleships and 3 destroyers.
That's
and
awesome.
again, ships. Yeah, and it's kind of cool because on the cards that you get, like you get a card for your ship, kind of like yours. You lay it out in front of you. You track your wounds on that, but you have loadouts. So throughout the years, the ships will load it out with different equipment, different weapons. If you were to play an earlier loadout, you may like get a refund of the points cost of the ship, or if you play with a later year loadout, you get like an extra cost you have to pay.
Interesting.
So it's kind of a cool way to like customize your list, but also balance it with the point costs.
Yeah, that's very clever. I like that.
Yeah. So I tried looking at the comparison between like Black Seas and Cruel Seas and this one by Warlord Games, but it was just so much, like so many videos I'm watching. Black Seas is using tall ships from like that pirate era. They're 1 to 700 scale, and Cruel Seas uses smaller ships, so no battleships, but more like patrol boats and destroyers, and they're at 1 to 300 scale. So it just blows me away, like that these ships in Victory at Sea are 1 to 1800. Like,
Yeah.
it just
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, because
yeah.
I saw one of our Discord users, MJ, post her, what was it, Cruel Seas? Is that what you said it was called?
Yeah, it was.
And
Yep.
that was 1/300, and that ship looked quite small. And then you telling me these are 1/1800?
Yeah.
1/1800? I don't know how to even
Yeah.
say it. So
Yeah,
even smaller
it's just
again.
too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
That's cool,
But,
though.
so the game is broken into 4 phases. So it uses a pretty cool initiative phase, and before that, it also uses a scouting phase. So like you roll off for the scouting phase, and the winner gets advantages to their initiative roll. So to obviously who goes first and who reacts first and stuff like that. When you win initiative, it forces the other player to move their ships first, but they can't fire. So it allows you to shoot first. So it's sort of, because they have to move first, it allows you to sort of react to them. Most games, you want to go first, but like in this kind of instance, you want to sort of go second, so you can react to how they move their ships, because it all comes into like firing arcs and ranges and stuff like that. You've got alternating activations between each ships, minimum and maximum moves. You can only pivot your ship up to 45 degrees each activation. So I love the minimum move kind of thing, because it just brings that realism again into it. Like a battleship, you can't just stop on a dime. Like, those things take a long time to stop. Or sort of really this cool different modifiers, like and for your range. So obviously long range, you suffer a penalty to your hit, and also what you're shooting at. Like if a ship moves more than 6 inches, which is generally like the quicker ships, it's a -1 to hit, to sort of replicate that speed that they have over you.
Yeah, cool.
You pick which guns on the ships that you can shoot with, and when you roll, if you hit, you roll to see where you hit. Things can be disabled, like other weapons, engines. The video I actually watched, the guy rolled a critical, and his caused a secondary explosion, which just obliterated one of his ships in one go. Like I kind of imagined, like, they'd hit the armory or the fuel tanks or something in this boat, and it just caused the whole thing to just become a fireball.
That's awesome.
So
that would feel so satisfying to inflict on someone, but so devastating to have inflicted on you. This big battleship just get crit. Fuel tanks blow up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like they've got rules coming. Like again, it's I don't even know if it's been fully released yet, but it's got like other rules coming for like airplanes. So the US have aircraft carriers. There's in this box you've got the US Navy and the Imperial Japanese Navy because of the Pacific, but there's other ones coming for like the Royal British Navy and the Kriegsmarine, which is the German Navy. And they play the historical thing a lot with that. Like the obviously the Royal Navy have a massive fleet, because for so long throughout history they ruled the seas, right? Like, and that's how combat was. It was like whoever ruled the seas ruled the world almost.
Yeah, because there was no internet back then.
No, memes didn't rule the world, dude.
Yeah.
Even AM radio wasn't a thing.
Oh, Jesus.
No. And the Germans, they weren't allowed a really big navy. So after World War One, so by the time World War Two rolled around, only 20 years later, they hadn't built up a whole lot of ships. So the ships they do have are powerful ships, but they haven't got a massive fleet like the British do. So there's a lot of cool things there. Yeah, I just can't wait to get the Bismarck, dude, and paint that up.
The Bismarck, what is that? It's a
German battleship.
Well, I have some information on the game that just came to me from The Wire. It was officially released on the 1st of September, so 29 days ago. And Mighty Ape has them in stock right now.
God damn. Okay.
And your Bismarck
I had a feeling it was
$34. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the starter box is about $125 off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, it's 109 on Mighty Ape, which means they're probably 125 normally, yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like really good value.
Insane discount. Yeah, and the ships are really cool. Like, they're resin, and they come in, like the main ship comes as itself, and then the individual guns come separately, so you just clip them off like a little resin sprue thing, and glue them on. But yeah, like they all look, it looks as good as like resin sort of is. A lot of cleanup. Well, not a lot of cleanup, but a bit of cleanup.
Yeah.
But they're just sweet looking little models, man. Like,
yeah,
I just want to get something to paint.
And like you said, you're You're a history buff. This is right up your alleys. It's naval warfare
Yeah.
historically.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm going to get right around this. I might wait once lockdown's over for us here in the metro zone.
Oh, yeah.
Guff are going to do like a sort of a demo kind of thing. They're going to have a table set up with this game on there. So
Yeah.
I'm really keen to get
So
in
what
there
did
and
you
have a
say?
sus.
They have a box already? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I saw it there a few weeks ago now, and they had a box there, and they were sort of waiting, like, because there was no point putting it up, because it's kind of one of those things, like, I don't know how people would go just buying it blindly off their website. Like, it's kind of one of those things that you'd sort of want to, like, come into store and have a look at the models and maybe play around or something like that. Before you just go out and buy it, because it's kind of the same as Armada and the Kings of War in our area. It just hasn't got that big following and that big name to it, where anything that's Warhammer would just sell. It could be a wholly new system and it would just sell.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see
So
you can buy the what do you call it? Like the fleets in their own boxes. If you just want to go, I just want a whole fleet. They actually have them all in boxes. That's cool.
yep,
And they have aircraft.
they're at
in them.
$90, are they? Oh, they do have aircraft.
Yeah, they do, and they look interesting because like they're on a flying V of a stand, and then there's like 4 little planes in a formation on them.
Yeah, it's because I suppose it's because to the scale too. You couldn't have individual ones, otherwise it'd be like moving like little match heads around.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they'd be that tiny.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
I like that. That adds an extra dimension, which is very cool.
Yeah. I can almost see the Japanese having the ability to kamikaze into a battleship.
Oh, for sure, dude.
They have to, man. They have to. If they don't,
Sell the game back and ask for a refund.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the
My
individual
planes don't commit suicide.
seppuku, what is it called? The fleets are about $175.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. That's a whole set. Like that's everything you need though in those fleet boxes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
like
that's
8
heaps of
ships,
ships.
for flight things. So like 16
Yeah.
planes.
Yeah.
I imagine it. That's your full scale game. Like you buy that and then you're playing a full size game.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so I've seen people complain a little bit about Warlord games pricing, and I'm like, like maybe in the realm of Warlord games, 175 for a whole fleet is a lot of money. But I'm just thinking like, we were just talking about Armada, which I'm super keen for. That's $150 just for the starter set.
Yeah.
If you wanted a full size thing, you have to spend the same amount of money, and you get Anyways.
But then like also, what do they compare it to? Because if any game, if you pay $175 for a full army, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Try doing that in Legion or Sigma or 40k. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I think the cheapest army you can get in 40k right now is about $700 competitive army,
Yeah.
and that's considered a steal. So
Yeah.
apples to oranges, though, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
That's it.
it's also tough, right? Because maybe they look at the amount of plastic you get in a box like that, and they go, "Well, that's just not worth 175." But
True.
maybe for them to keep making this game so that you can actually put it on the table and enjoy it, that's what it's going to cost them. That's what it costs their company to tie up printers and to create all the artwork for the boxes and employ people to write rules for it and all this kind of stuff, all these overheads. Yeah, maybe what's in the box, just like this house I'm living in right now is worth about $30,000 and I paid $250,000 for it, you know. It's supply and demand, dude. So anyways.
But like people try and do that. Like they try to say like, yeah, but the plastic's not worth that. No, it's not. But like the years they spent developing the game, like you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
And it's the same as like people go, you call a plumber to fix a leaking tap, and you go, you did that in 5 minutes. Why am I paying you $100? It's like, well, it took me 15 years to learn how to do it in 5 minutes. You got to pay for that kind of thing. Like people just they see the immediate, like they can't understand how to put the value to something like without thinking of the broader picture.
Yeah. And they might compare it to other companies that... Anyways.
Yeah.
That's a beers and banter chat if I've ever heard of one.
That is.
But it looks dope, dude. And because it's already got tons of stuff out. So there's like already a Kriegsmarine fleet, Royal Navy fleet, IJN fleet, and then individual ships and the starter set. And it just came out a month ago. So
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it.
So what's your first purchase from this list?
I'll probably just get the starter box
Yeah.
to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah, paint that up, play some games with that, and then go for the Bismarck, dude.
Got to get that Bismarck.
Go to, man. Go to.
If that Bismarck is
ship.
in one of the fleets, surely you just spend the extra $140, whatever it is, and get the fleet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's in the Kriegsmarine fleet, though.
Okay. That makes sense, I guess. That's probably why it's an individual thing.
It might be like a hero character kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they might, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Don't
true.
know.
Man, that's cool. That's dope.
Yeah, yes. So that's what I'm looking forward to. That you know, I like the idea of these kind of games. It's kind of the same as like aerial combat games. You know, like terrain is almost not a thing. Like you could put small islands, you could put shipwrecks, you could do all that sort of stuff.
For sure.
But you know, like it's just something different about it.
You could play it on a blue tablecloth, you know?
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. And you know, this is a game too where you could make a campaign out of it. You could have your naval battle and then you could move it on to a Flames of War or a Bolt Action or something like that game and continue the campaign.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What scale is Axis and Allies? I've got that somewhere. Do I?
Yeah. I don't think it's really to a scale though. Isn't that kind of more like
yeah, I mean...
a risk kind of thing? Like you move onto zones?
I thought the boats they had a scale written next to them. Anyways, it's irrelevant. I was just thinking maybe you could team that up with, like, if you wanted to do a real basic campaign, you could use the map from that and, like, instead of having ships on the actual board, you did your ship battles with this game. Anyways, heaps of options.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just actually trying to remember what I did with my copy. I'm scratching my head. But anyways, I'll we're doing beers and banter after we record this episode, so maybe I'll have a little hunt around while I grab another beer.
Yeah, sounds good.
But yeah, that's naval war games. Two very, very different naval war games, and both very new.
They are. Yeah. Yep. Man, I'm keen for both of these games.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's a good
I'm
idea
definitely buying.
that we just get the starter sets each, and then
Yeah.
teach each other how to play them.
You get the Armada one. I'll get the the Victory at Sea one, and then we'll
We'll make
Get
a
it.
weekend of it.
That's it, dude.
That sounds good. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet.
So, that's us. Thanks for listening to Hobby Homies. Next
Yeah.
week, we do probably our favorite thing in the entire world, and that's live episode is next week.
Oh yeah.
So we do this on the first Wednesday of every month, which got awkward this month because today is the 30th, and it's also the 6th Wednesday of this month, or the 7th, or something silly.
Something. There's been too many, dude. What's up
Too
with
many
that?
Wednesdays, yeah. So
More
I
than
feel,
4?
yeah, this is our 5th
Yeah.
Wednesday. Silly, just silly.
Yeah.
Feels like 12. So it's been a while since our last live episode. But yeah, so we do the live episodes first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. In our Discord, a channel goes live. I think it's called live at
Yep.
about 7 o'clock.
Yeah, near about maybe 5 minutes beforehand.
Yeah. And then you'll jump in there. Shane and I will jump in there at 7 o'clock, start recording an episode like we do now. Although it's more interactive. We play games with the people in the Discord. We do giveaways. Yeah. We give a lot of shit away.
Yeah, and it's don't worry, like it's not. I mean, you've probably listened to the episodes by now, surely, unless this is the first one you're listening to. Then welcome, and thank you for lasting.
Yeah.
But you jump in there. You can't. Don't worry, not everyone's using their microphone. It's only us two buffoons that you have to listen to.
Yeah.
Everyone chats through to us in the lobby, and and it's always such a good time. Like, everyone has fun.
Yeah, it's fun making our Discord users do crazy stuff for free
Yeah.
stuff, and it's also fun asking them questions and seeing what they're doing at the time. We've got quite an eclectic group of hobbyists, so it's just a good time. It's our favorite thing.
Yeah.
Hell
yeah, dude.
So speaking of giveaways, I mean, we already touched on it a little bit, but our monthly giveaway, we do 2 monthly giveaways every month. One is for everyone. We post it on Facebook. We let you know what you got to do to enter. This month's one was the Vanguard rulebook, which is the Kings of War skirmish game by Mantic Games. Super relevant because the guy that wrote the rules for Armada. So love that. We're giving that away. We'll announce the winner of that on the live episode, as well as our Patreon only giveaway, which is an Indomitus Captain, Primaris Captain, sweet model. We'll be announcing the winner of that on our live episode, as well as giving away other stuff to people who are actually in the Discord during the live episode.
That's it.
Now, as always, these episodes could not be done without our filthy, filthy Patreons. So, you
Most
guys
of them are clean, dude.
I don't know, man. I haven't met a lot of them in person. I assume they're clean.
Yeah.
I assume they're clean. So we just want to thank our patrons.
Yeah, so huge shout out to these guys. We've got Final Dinosaur from Belgium. He recently picked up a copy of Space Hulk 2016, so I immediately told him that he sent it to the wrong address. It should have gone to his shipping address, not his billing address. So I think he's working out sending that to me somehow. I told him I'll fix him up the difference of postage.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I think he's also catching the next available flight from Belgium to Melbourne. So him and Fox can bash out a game in the airport.
Yeah, I'll be there.
That's what I've heard.
I'll be there waiting for him.
We've got our OG Wargamer, Foggy Highway. He's acquired too much A Song of Ice and Fire game collection. It dwarfs Fox's entire 40k collection, probably including current and previous models as well.
Yeah, It's a lot of plastic in that cabinet he's got there.
Oh man! I don't know how he gets it past his wife.
I don't think he does.
He's also been he just
sneaks
cops it every time.
Oh yeah, all that. Cops it on the chin.
Yeah, he's been pumping out heaps of terrain too, which is in our terrain tournament. All scratch built using expanding foam and imagination.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. Yeah, it's so good.
That's it. Churchy, absolutely killing it on YouTube and Twitch. Check him out, twitch.tv/churchy_plays. He's also been producing some royalty-free music tracks, which he is another one of his absolute passions, is creating any kind of music. You give that guy an instrument and he can fucking play it. Like, I don't know, man. You can give him a didgeridoo, or you can give him one of those big upright guitars. What do they call those?
Bazookas.
Cellos.
Oh, cellos.
Or that.
I don't know instruments, dude. I might have given myself away there.
Give him anything and he'll like absolutely shred it.
Yeah. He even made our podcast sound good. So
he did. I don't know. I know what happened. COVID happened. So don't worry. We'll be back. Dave, the recruiter of scions and builder of lists, he's been turning his 9th edition 40k competitive hype up to 11, pumping out heaps of games, and his scions look sick. He smashed out a whole bunch of those.
Oh man, he killed it.
Yeah. And you said he uses loaded dice, is that right?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Yeah, no doubt in my mind. At the start, I was like, oh man, yeah, he's just pretty lucky. But now I'm like, okay, yeah, absolutely, it's loaded.
6s every time. This can't be a thing.
He makes it a little bit more believable. It's always 5s and 6s.
Okay.
But yeah, absolutely loaded.
Yeah. Rory, he printed out a massive Superman. Sorry.
So boomer. One of them, y'all superhero.
You know? Wears his undies outside his pants.
That's the guy.
Yeah, he painted him up with his airbrush, and it looks phenomenal, man. The skin on that model, straight away I was jealous, but I'm like, I've painted more models than you, and you're painting better than me. How is that a thing?
Yeah.
He is naturally talented at whatever he does. He's so
creative. And like, he hit me up for airbrush advice, and then he sent me a picture of that, and I'm like, don't do that. Don't patronize me, asking me for advice and then pumping out the models better than anything I've ever done.
It's like, hey, dude, look, I don't know how I did this, but what do you reckon? And it looks like Mona Lisa, like it's just, hanging up in a museum.
How to airbrush? And then he's like, do I do good? Masterpiece.
It's that guy on Reddit. It's like, I painted my first miniature. What do you think? And it's like a golden demon winning fucking model.
All wet blended. Yeah. That's
Rory.
Yeah.
And we've got Caitlin. She hasn't done much hobby lately. She's been working, but she finished her first unit of Night Haunt Glaive Wraith Stalkers. I'm trying to convince her to build some more and a Tomb Banshee, but she won't.
Oh.
She won't build. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, my spirit animal doesn't want to build. Or paint.
True.
Very cool. We've also got Arkham Leper. Now, he's currently thinking about putting together a Mordheim crew. Now, I need to look more into Mordheim because people have been chatting about it in the Discords. But I'm also trying to ignore it because I don't want to. Yeah, it's another game. So he's hunting down some Skaven and a Rat Ogre. So I'm as a Skaven lover. I'm very excited to see what his little Mordheim crew ends up looking like. Also, host of TCG podcast along with his bro Jace, not his actual bro, his homie. So check them out on, I was going to say BuzzFeed. Whatever we're on, Podbean. BuzzFeed. Check them out on BuzzFeed. Podbean, TCG podcast. We got Whack the Ewok. Now, Shane paints red and Whack paints green. So
he paints green well.
He paints... He's done what you've done, Shane. They picked a color and you just paint everything in it. So he's got an army of green chaos demons.
Dude, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I tell you.
That's true. If it ain't green, don't paint it.
That's it.
And now he's started Salamanders, not the only green 40k chapter, but the green 40k chapter. It's for his son. It's not for him. He's not a filthy Primaris player. He's chaos, but it's for his son. And he recently painted up a librarian that looks sweet. Wait, is that a librarian, dude? I don't know Primaris like you do.
Yeah, it's a Primaris librarian, yeah. The eyes on that model, man. The glow on the cheek, on the bridge of the nose.
Dope.
Straight away, I was like, come on, man. Can't do this.
They're overtaking us.
I know.
I think they came into the Discord ahead of us. So. We've also got Joe. I've been playing Among Us with him recently. And I swear this is the only guy that will abuse you even after you correctly pick him as the imposter. Which is just funny because, like, in this game, you try and pick the imposter and you shoot him out the air, into space. You basically kick him out of the ship. And if you correctly guess the imposter, you've done well and you win the game. But he's like little characters just like jettisoning through space and he's like just throwing out profanity. He's like, you're all so dumb, you're all so stupid. It's like Joe was the imposter. I'm like, what do you mean, dude? We got it right. He's just mad all the time. And lastly, second lastly, because we have a newer Patreon. But second lastly is Lethal.
Come on,
working on his Star Wars Legion bunker.
Are you on the Uncle Doug's or what, man?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And lastly, so Lethal's been working on his Star Wars Legion bunker, which I'm super pumped to see how that turns out because I actually haven't seen a painted one. So this will be interesting. He recently also 3D printed and painted a Deathcore of Krieg bust, which looked freaking awesome. And he's also working on a General Grievous for Star Wars Legion. So the man's has been hobbying, suffice to say.
And when he's not hobbying, he's 3D printing. He 3D printed me a bunch of Gasland stuff, which got stuck in Melbourne Ozpost terminal for like a week, which wasn't his fault at all.
No,
it's funny because we sent each other stuff on the same day, and he got like stuff I sent him. So I'm like, oh sweet, mine's coming today. nah,
your mistake,
fucking
Melburnian.
Took like an extra week and a half. Oh yeah, man. I don't know. I'm like, it's like coming into the state. Like I understand if it was slow going out of the state, right?
Yeah,
but
true.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah, but the stuff he sent me is awesome. Like all these like little guns, even like some little scale like guys to put, for like mounting on the guns and stuff. So I'm gonna make a Gaslands thing with some of those bits. So it's gonna be sick.
He's our resident 3D printer. And lastly is MJ, our newest Patreon. Now, although she said she will give Armada a miss, the game I just spoke about, she is working on some 1 to 300 scale ships for Cruel Seas, the game you've mentioned a couple times, Shane.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what you do with them, MJ. And please post more Star Wars Legion stuff, because every time you talk about it and post about it, I get the models closer and closer to the paint table. So please help me. And recently found out she's a fellow lover of Jyn Erso, so that's awesome. We have that in common.
Yeah.
We're a rare breed, but we have fine taste. So, anyways, that's us for this Sunday.
That's it.
Tune in Thursday for our beers and banter, and then wait.
Dude, they're going to hear Beers and Banter before they hear this.
No, I mean like the next one, which is the live episode, actually. So yeah, when they're hearing this, the live episode is in 3 days.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so
Wednesday at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Jump in the Discord. We'll be in there talking this.
Yeah, talking this, but also not this. We'll talk other stuff.
New stuff.
And other stuff. All stuff. All right, we'll see you then.
That's it. All right. Hooroo.
Watch me turn up, roll up, yeah, you know I burn up. Woo.